For those enamored with midnight rituals, you need look no further than the Graveborn.
Yo guys, what is up? Moxsy in our Wonderlands video, and today we got the final 2 classes for Tiny Tina's Wonderlands revealed, as well as a new dev diary that goes in depth on how multi-classing is going to work and how you're going to be creating your heroes. There's a ton of new information to break down today. I hope you guys enjoy the video. If you do, be sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe. And with that, guys, let's get right into it. So our first class to talk about is the Graveborn. Now, the Graveborn is our necromancer dark magic user fantasy class in Wonderlands, and they are all about using dark magic. Now, dark magic, think of it kind of as a new element. It's like a new element in Wonderlands, the same way that shock has a mechanic that it works against shields and has a dot damage over time. Dark magic has its own mechanic, and that mechanic is you're going to sacrifice a percentage of your health or an amount of health to use that spell, but that spell will also have lifesteal. And the Graveborn is kind of all about using this dark magic. Now, every class in Wonderlands has 2 core action skills, and the Graveborn's core action skill, its first one, is called Reaper of Bones. And during Reaper of Bones, is a duration-based action skill. You're going to get bonus lifesteal and magic damage for a duration of time as your health continuously drains. So you're getting lifesteal, you're getting damage, but if you're not hitting things, if you're not in combat, you're just going to be losing a lot of your health. But super, super cool mechanic there. Your next action skill, Dire Sacrifice. And Dire Sacrifice is this AoE necrotic slam that we keep seeing. You're going to sacrifice 20% of your current health to deal dark magic damage to all nearby enemies. So you've got 2 action skills that are going to be sacrificing health to deal damage. And on top of your 2 action skills, you also have a class feat. Now, we'll talk more about class feats when we talk about multiclassing, which we learned a lot more about. But the Graveborn's got 2 action skills, and its class feat is a Demi-Lich Companion. Now, the Demi-Lich Companion is super interesting. So when you're using the Demi-Lich Companion, when you cast a spell, the Demi-Lich will also cast a unique spell of their own, which will be triggering kill skills to summon hellish minions, is what it says. So the Graveborn is going to be a kill skill oriented dark magic user that's going to be using the Demi-Lich to cast your spells. I mean, you're going to be casting spells, the Demi-Lich is going to be casting spells, and you're going to be summoning minions as well as doing all this crazy dark damage. This class sounds absolutely crazy, and it only gets crazier when you think about you can multi-class this class with other classes and mix and match. Super, super cool. And our next class is the Spore Warden.
You can always take a walk on the wild side. Spore Wardens are your classic nature lovers.
And our final class is the Spore Warden. Now, the Spore Wardens are masters of nature who are going to have big focuses on summoning and working with companions, buffing your team, but also staying at a distance and doing a lot of damage. The Spore Warden kind of thing is poison damage, and it's going to have a toxic spewing mushroom companion. Poison damage in Wonderlands is replacing corrosive damage. It'll work against armored bars, and the Spore Warden will definitely have an emphasis on it. But in addition to that, you've also got your 2 core action skills. Your first one, Barrage of Arrows, lets you summon a bow to shoot a ton of arrows at enemies. And you also have a Blizzard attack as your second action skill, which will summon frost tornadoes or tornadoes to go out and seek enemies. So you've got multiple ways to stay at a distance. The media update says that they are gun and companion specialists that can significantly boost the abilities of their companions and allies while laying down withering firepower and slowing advancing enemies with frost tornadoes. Speed and distance are a Spore Warden's best friend. So you're going to have companions in your mushroom companion to do toxic damage. You're going to have a bow. You're going to have tornadoes. You'll be able to boost your teammates, and you'll also be able to do like poison damage. Sounds like a very, very cool class, especially when you talk about using the multi-class system. So next I want to talk about multiclassing. Now I will have a full video separate from this one that goes over multiclassing combinations and the ones that I'm most excited for, but with this new trailer, we got a new dev diary that dives into multiclassing, so I want to break it down for you guys. Now, to start us off, you will have to pick a second class. There's a point in the campaign that you will pick a second class. You have to pick a second class, and for the rest of the campaign, you're stuck with that second class. After you beat the main campaign, you can then swap your second class, but you're always stuck with the main class that you picked to start the game. Now, at the point of selecting your secondary class, there's no way that you could have possibly filled out your entire skill tree for your main class. So you get the option then of going more in depth into your current tree for your main class or speccing into your new secondary class. So why would you spec into your secondary class? What's going to dictate that decision? To start, every class has an always-on class feat. This is basically like their passive ability that is like focused on that class, and each class has a different always-on class feat. I mentioned that the Graveborn's always-on class feat is the Demi-Lich Companion. So, for example, if I was a Spore Warden and I picked the Graveborn class without ever speccing a single point into the Graveborn class, I will get its always-on class feat, meaning it's Demi-Lich. So then I keep my own. I'm going to have the Spore Warden's Toxic Spewing Mushroom Companion, and I'm also going to have the Graveborn's Demi-Lich to cast spells for me, and then I'm fighting alongside with 2 companions. Now, obviously, I could spec more into the Graveborn tree or more into my own, or do both, but you're going to be getting a different class feat by speccing into the different classes, and each one has their own. In that video that I'll probably put out tomorrow, I'll go over everyone's class feat. But for example, the Stabomancer doesn't have a companion, but when you spec into the Stabomancer, you're going to get increased crit chance. So you could go for like a Berserker and just grab the Stabomancer without specking any points. You're now going to have more crit chance just by picking that as your second class. Now, in addition to those always on class feats, you're going to be able to spec into a full passive tree of benefits from that character. It doesn't say if you can mix and match action skills. So like, we don't know if I could use the Spore Warden's bow and also go invisible with the Stabomancer's action skill. We don't know if you can mix and match action skills yet. We do know that you can mix and match passives on the skill tree, which is going to add so much diversity and build diversity. In addition to that, there's also 6 basic stats: strength, dexterity, intelligence, wisdom, constitution, and attunement. These are hero points. You're going to accrue hero points as you play the game, and then you can spec more into these things. So for example, if you're playing a spell shot, maybe you'll want to spec more into intelligence and wisdom than if you're playing a Berserker, where you're going to want to spec more into strength and dexterity. The way that you spec these points is also going to allow you to do different things with your characters. Maybe you want to play a Berserker but actually use spells, and then you'd spec more into intelligence. Or maybe you want to do a melee spell shot and spec more into dexterity. The like ways to play this game are going to be absolutely crazy. Now, there is one thing that's super interesting here that I wanted to mention, is they note that when you pick your character, you have to pick a lore background, and the lore background of your character will define which starting stats you go with. So for example, if you pick a spell shot, it's not like you're going to inherently start with more intelligence and wisdom. You could pick the spell shot with the background of being more of a thief and then start with more dexterity. So the way that you pick these characters sounds like it's going to have insane customization. Now that we've seen all the characters and the classes and we've seen their action skills, I'm curious to what class you guys are leaning towards, what class you're most excited for. Be sure to drop a comment and let me know. I think I have my eyes on the spell shot and the Graveborn, maybe kind of doing a combo of those two. They both sound really, really interesting to me. I will have more videos out because there's a ton of information to cover here. We'll have one about multiclassing, about some of the more things in this dev diary. So if you're not subscribed, be sure to do so. We are on the road to 200,000 subscribers. Really do appreciate the support, guys. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Take care. Peace.